remember this TV show, Love and Marriage? You can't have one without the other. Try and not separate them. It's an illusion. Try, and you will always come to the conclusion, love and marriage.
That was a TV show that came on when I was really young. I think I was 5 or 6 or something. Was it an Mnet Open Time?
Yeah.
Mnet Open Time. That was, Mnet used to have to subscribe and you had a decoder. But there was a certain time of the afternoon where it was open. And it was called Open Time, Mnet Open Time. And that was a show. It was a white couple and the 2 white children. But they were sort of like a poor white couple, right? I think sort of what they were thought of as like, not trailer trash, they had a house. But like just the poorer in the community, something like that. It was funny. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, that's a way back. I just remember snippets of it. Can't even say what I remember, but when the tune comes, everybody comes to sit.
Love and marriage, love and... So today's topic, if you haven't even got an idea, it's about marriage. So just to backtrack a little, this is another episode of Generational Chats. Welcome back to this joy seat with me and my mom, and a baby boomer and a millennial talking about different topics. Encouraging those that do watch this to, hey, maybe you should have a more detailed conversation with the older people in your life and maybe you'll learn something. I know that we definitely learn from each other. She just laughs because I'm just like the dramatic one in this relationship. Even though I get all of this from her. Anyway. So today we're going to talk about marriage and of course the details of marriage and the societal pressures of marriage are the same and different all at the same time. Like there are things that I think my mother lived through that there are still those lot of the circumstances today. So first question, Mom, is wow, what was there the same pressure for women to also get married young and have the kids as soon as possible? Because I felt
When I was in my 20s, I'm now 33, that there was like, by 25, you should have that person, you should probably be planning your children already or have had your first child, and you have preparations for, you know, you're planning to get a house together, whatever, you're living together. So was there that same pressure when you were...
in your 20s?
I don't remember that there was pressure, not in our home, not in our family, to marry young. You either had to finish school and go work, and it was not from the parent that the idea came to marry and have children.
Yeah.
My parents were not putting pressure on my siblings or any of us.
That's quite nice.
So I think my sister put pressure on herself. She didn't want to be at home anymore. So that is another...
But if you think about like
In
the
general.
community, like with your female friends and their families, what can you tell us about that time? Because when you're in your 20s, it was like what, 1967, 1968, that was like your early 20s.
Yes, I think the pressure came when we were nursing, and the doctor would put on the folder of the person that's beyond 25, would put some word that only they know why they think that a woman beyond 25 is an elderly, they labeled it elderly prime.
Oh my word, after 25,
After
you're
25.
elderly? Oh.
We were late, you gonna marry late, have children late, that is.
Wow.
Because I think before our generation, there was that pressure on young women to, not in our generation, but it's only when I came to another level of, like, I would say in my profession,
Yes.
that we realized that the doctors had a certain age set already for women that is beyond 25. But we didn't get that pressure from our peers, from my home environment.
Okay.
That, yeah. So 25 was a...
I think in my early 20s, like older people would always be asking, are you dating someone? What job are you doing? When do you plan to get married? If you are dating, if you are dating someone, they'd follow up with that question: when are you getting married? Or do you think you'll get married to this person? It definitely still felt at that time, and maybe even now, that like they attach of you have a value. If someone values you, if someone wants to marry you, then you must have value. And I never steered away from wanting to get married. It's just that I haven't yet. But I've prayed to the Lord, and He's sending me someone. So I'm patiently waiting.
The Lord is grooming. The Lord is busy grooming.
If He's made me so specifically, I'm sure He's made my other partner, wherever you are in the world, he's on his way. Anyway, he's on his way. So yeah, there was that undertone of that you have value if someone values you, and what adds to your value is if you have your life under control. Do you know what you're doing as a career? Are you earning? Do you have opportunities? That almost all added to, are you your almost like your societal worth. And then I think also this pressure of to have kids, because if you get too old then you can't have children. So it was also like the question, do you want to have kids? And if you say no, because for a while I said no, and my mother was like,
very long while.
And I was like, yeah, no, that's for me, thank you. I was very vain. That was one of the reasons, is that I was vain. I did not want to. And now it seems ridiculous that it was for vanity's sake, because I mean, one day you're going to age and you're not going to look the same.
Or there's
anymore.
Not going to be somebody that will be sitting next to you.
Exactly. Or maybe the person, because I thought I had boyfriends and partners that also didn't want children. So I knew it was possible to find someone that had the same, I don't know if you can call values or belief or just decision they made for their lives. Like, to be honest, I think the last two people that I dated both didn't want children. And so I knew it was possible. So I might have been influenced by that. Okay. But if I think about marriage, I think dated men that I would have wanted to marry. Then we have spoken about this, haven't we? Yeah. So like, it wasn't like I was dating just like, it was when I fell in love with someone, it was usually that I wanted to marry this person. Like, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this person. But I do know, because of all like my community, if I felt that they thought a certain way, like, you're so old, why are you not married? I would always date people literally outside of my community, because they just had a different mindset. I don't know if you noticed this, but I did it on purpose. And it was also because that's the only place I could find people who thought differently. And why I say my community is like, I live in what they call the colour community in Cape Town, South Africa. And there is a very specific way of thinking. So if someone else looks at my life, they might think that I'm a little strange, and that's fine. But the people that I dated, they were like, I understand her. And that was why I kind of went outside the box. What was your expectations for yourself with marriage? Like, had you made any decisions about marriage before you married Daddy?
Yeah, but if I share my expectations, it would sound very fickle. But my expectations was, if you want to get married, you have to have a home. Not live with your parents, not live in other people's homes, live in your own home. Whether you're renting that home or you're going to have to build a house first, or whatever the situation, the home must come first. I'm not moving into anybody's space, anybody's home. I want to set up my own home. So that was my first criteria. And
any other things on your list?
No. And yes, in my thoughts, I knew I would want to have children, because it was that stage of my life where somewhat pressure is put on people beyond 25. And when I got married, I was already 26.
Yeah.
So
not very old at all. Yeah.
Yeah, 26 was, nowadays they would say 26 is old.
Yeah.
But
no, for
that
sure.
time,
23 is
26
ancient.
Yes, so it's the having a home, being the right age to get married, and have an income. So my profession provided that, and my husband to be, or my husband was in the position
Or
to
potential
provide,
husband, yes. Before.
yeah,
Yes. Cool.
provide, and
I suppose the conditions for looking for a partner has not changed. I will say I actually never really thought of those things consciously. And I would now be honest and say that I look at that when I am dating them. If someone had to ask me what my criteria is, I would first actually say good conversationalist, ambitious, can make me laugh, and also you can just I wouldn't just say in general kindness, but just how they treat people and different people on different levels of society. So how they treat waiters, how they treat cashiers, how they treat a beggar, how they treat, that is all the things that I look for when I spend time with someone. So if there's someone who's interested in me, I want to see them in different situations, and then I can see what type of heart do they actually have, because how they treat all of those people that can't do anything for them or that are dependent on their kindness or business or whatever, for me is really reflective of the type of heart.
but I had that package, so that was not a criteria.
My
I had
bad.
the whole package. I think I got it on a silver tray, but I was the rebellious one. I didn't think I was good enough. He had all those qualities that she's speaking about.
Yes.
Yes, but
Okay, wait. Let me just finish what I wanted to say. Okay, so the reason why I say it, so that's the unconscious stuff. The conscious. What is it? Unconscious or conscious stuff? Oh, I think I just got lost in my thoughts there. So, that is the conscious stuff. So me, it's like more of a personality thing, and I would pay attention to maybe subconsciously, like, do they have their own place? Do they have a car? Do they have an income? Almost like, maybe it's like a given. Maybe I think I'm attracted to them because of their stability. And then second wave of checklist is their actual character. That's for me how it was. I would definitely say that I am oversimplifying my preferences here. So I just want to note that that is the case. As well as I think attraction and how you choose partner is complex. So yeah, just give me some leeway here, people. Disclaimer, done. But yes, my mother was just bragging about my dad. That she got the package deal. As you were
and
saying.
the car wasn't part of the conscious thing.
Yes, but for you, you said he was someone who you knew he could provide because he had his degree in pharmaceuticals, right?
In pharmacy.
In pharmacy. So my dad was a pharmacist and eventually owned his own pharmacy. Co-owned or owned? Owned his own pharmacy. And was actually very business minded and very community minded person. So that's why my mom says she got the package deal. Yeah. Would you like to
tell everybody a little about the dating process, or briefly, or not at all?
I don't even refer to it. It was my friendship journey.
Towards that, because there was.
My mother literally goes from friend to husband. There's no like in between, like fiance, boyfriend. There's like friend, husband.
Friend, long gap, then husband.
You see? That's what I'm saying. Like it's like a jump.
The package came along.
Yeah.
And I can't call it like dating, because it was a friendship while working and having to be away to make that decision. I must go back to what I have in mind.
So I'm going to elaborate, because my mother, I don't know if you've noticed, but she's terrible at like giving you details. I'm going to describe for you. Okay, so this is a situation. My mom and my dad were introduced by a mutual friend. The mutual friend said to my mom, ooh, he should be for you. She was like, why? I take him, you should have him, ha ha ha. Anyway, they had this group of friends. I don't know, it's like a group of 5 or 6 people. Always used to hang out together often, right? Father was studying pharmacy. My mom finished the nursing.
Yes.
Finished the nursing, yeah, and was with this. Your friend was also nursing at the time, right? Then my dad had to go back home because that was the expectations of his family. And then while he was away, he used to write to my mother, and he started to tell my mother how he felt about her. My mother had no idea, and I'm almost certain that he was flirting, but she didn't see anything. She was, as you can say, blind. I was gonna say dwas, but that's rude. Sorry, mommy. She was just not self-aware enough, and
How serious he thought.
yeah. So she didn't realize only until the letters, and the letters went on for almost a year, and then he finally said to his parents, "I want to come back because I love her. She is the one for me." So that's how the romance began, and she softened her heart because of the letters. Wasn't it romantic? Anyway, and she did keep the letters for a while.
For a long while.
For a long time. She kept the letters. How sweet is that? Isn't there something romantic about a love letter? And eventually, he asked my grandmother for my mother's hand. And grandmother approved. My mother, my grandmother approved. And that's how they came together. Okay, so now that you know some of the detail, I know it was also a little brief, but it was a little more detail than she was giving you. So it's helping you out to understand what's going on here. Okay, so you actually only saw him as potential partner when he revealed his feelings to you. So as a friend, you respected him. Is that what I can be certain of?
We would go places together. Like, I think those times going to a club wasn't as taboo as,
it's not
some
taboo
parents,
now, it's just in the...
Like some parents don't want children to go to clubs. But those were totally different. I mean, when I hear what people are doing in clubs these days, there was nothing like that. So at clubs we would sing along with the DJ. We would walk to wherever in the evening. Walk to wherever. So I mean, those were.
Are you mentioning that also because people used to meet like their partners during that time as well?
Yes.
Okay. Because of course this is during lockdown. This is 2021, February the 3rd. So I mean that we're not having the 2nd of February, my bad. So we don't have these opportunities to meet in those social places anymore. It's definitely online, but I think before this, people were still trying to meet partners, even though I think it's not the greatest place to meet people still. Anyway, social spaces is definitely still, for me, the best place to meet someone. In terms of my expectations for marriage, I don't even know. Okay, so let's talk about this. Did your parents talk to you about marriage and about how to have a healthy marriage?
No, that was not a conversation.
Not even a conversation. Okay. So I know with my mom and I think there was more you telling me about your and daddy's marriage. Because I had a lot of questions because my father passed away when I was 1 year old in a car crash. And so I had questions because of course I was seeing other families that had a father figure. I didn't have one. So I always had a lot of questions about how they sort of treated each other. More now as I'm older, to be honest, than that I did when I was younger. So I think my ideas about the marriage and a partner has definitely changed. And I don't actually think you told me much voluntarily always. You more like talk to me about marriage through stories and through when we had like Bible studies and we talk about scripture or things like that.
So which part of this conversation is this now?
No, I'm just saying
about marriage.
I'm just saying that It wasn't
In
like
general.
a purposeful comment, like, hey, or like saying, oh, I want to talk to you about this. It wasn't like a purposeful thing like that. So if there wasn't a lot of purposeful conversation, definitely my ideas about relationships, romantic relationships, and marriage are definitely influenced by media and film and social conversation. Yeah, it's a lot of outside influences. I think that's very common and popular, and even older generations now also influenced by that. Before, I think it was mainly kids, but now I can actually say it's everybody is affected by that. And I would say there is a inaccurate beliefs that it can create in you because of it. It's like there's not someone that's saying, okay, this is actually how it is. You kind of mix the two, the rose-colored glasses of love, and everything's just gonna work out. And like how to compromise, how to have the tough conversations. No one talks about the tough parts of marriage, and I think maybe that would also be a really good topic to have, maybe even with an older couple. Like, what if you would realize how much good it would have done to be honest with your children about marriage? What would you have said to them? Let me know. Maybe comment if that's one of the topics that you'd like me to maybe even get an older couple to come and have a really honest conversation. I know I have friends now that I can have those conversations with, but before, nope. So then,
Let me see, where can we take this conversation to? I think there is a topic that you've mentioned before that you were actually affected by. You were married, dad passed, and you used to have a lot of married friends. Then there was a change in there.
And they didn't communicate with me any longer.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think when you talk about being single and then dating, you sometimes have couple friends, with my experience. So how did that affect you, I think, when it came to how you saw other people? Like, you had something that was in common, and now that it's gone, it's just, everything's gone.
Yeah, and that helped me to make a decision that I was never going to get married again. Because I just found, I know I had a very good husband and lots of memories about him. In that, I would say it was a short marriage. 15 years isn't a very long time. But because of those people, those friends, so-called friends that we had, never to be seen again, I don't know what value there was in married couples being friends with other married couples. And it made my decision making so much easier. Just be yourself, be on your own. You have to make the decisions yourself now.
Yeah.
There isn't a husband that, or I don't want a partner, another partner again. So it wasn't a pleasant thought about how they viewed the person left behind, like a wife left behind. I just had to find my own journey and carve out a new life, whether it's single or whatever my decisions is after that.
It's when you create this family, which is what a marriage does. Like after maybe kids enter into it, but if there isn't any kids, it's still a marriage, it's still a family, and that breaks apart a lot of what you created together, which was all the relationships. Sometimes they also break when the marriage is ended.
Yeah.
Even though with not
you
a
don't
cause that
continue
you
with
can
that
continue.
friendships.
Yeah.
Yes. And you would regard them as friends at the time when you had your husband.
Because you went on holidays together,
Yeah.
went days out together, camping, and my father was pretty outdoorsy, like he'd go hunting, they'd go on when public holidays, probably go on outings, which is a really common thing to do. Yeah. And when you would run into them, what would the conversations be like?
I don't think they had conversation any longer. And my opinion is actually that they were his friend. Or the males were his friends. And the women were just coming along with their husbands. So it couldn't have been a real in-depth relationship that was built. and it's not even a pleasant thing to talk about when couples forget about where their friendships was, whether it was a tight friendship or a sincere friendship. When you don't see those people around any longer and it's been years, it gives you, I don't know what kind of thoughts you would say, what happened to them?
Yeah. The only thing that I can say that is similar that I've had is when I've been in a relationship and you are friends with other couples, and like you actually mentioned, you thought that you were really good friends. Like as the females, sometimes they congregate, which is really normal. You think that you have a friendship with someone and then it breaks apart as soon as the relationship breaks apart. I've had situations where like I'll reach out to those girls that we spend time with and then you realize, oh, okay, maybe the guys are still friends, so maybe they feel that they still can't be friends with you. So I understand a little bit of what you're thinking.
I feel it's seasonal.
It is very seasonal. And it's almost like something you can't hold against people. It's like you're not going to exactly not try to be social when you are a couple and you're meeting other couples. So I think the only way you can control like how you feel is just be comfortable alone. Like that's what you try to figure out by yourself. Was there a thought of they don't want a single woman around their husbands? Was that also
I think that was also another...
Because I know
it wasn't obvious.
Yes.
But you are not invited now that your husband is not around anymore. You're not invited to those couples.
Yeah, because my mother was she was always a looker. She took care of herself when she was younger, so I understand why you might have been intimidated. Just saying. Anyway, but it's one of those things where we're human, as well. Like you can almost understand the thinking, even though the person, like my mom, was not interested in remarrying. My father passed when was it 1988. My mother wasn't interested in getting remarried for a couple of reasons. The first she will mention is, and we can confirm this, to protect the children. She didn't want to expose us to someone who might either be abusive or take advantage of us in any way or mistreat us. And the other reason she shared with me is that my father was the love of her life. Let's just hope I find that one day, Lord.
One life, one love life.
Yeah, and like you said, for her, it was a package. It was this person that she didn't think she'd find. And so that was the reason why she did not remarry. Yeah. Anyway, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to this conversation with my mom and I. If you loved hearing about generational chats, don't forget to hit the subscribe bell so that you know when the next episode does come out. There are other episodes that we have posted on the channel, so please check them out and don't forget to drop your comments. And if you have any suggestions or questions, maybe we'll even do like a Q&A session if people want that. And I think it was good. It's good to talk about these things just to realize some things change, some things stay the same. Yeah. And anything else you want to add before we go?
No. See you next time.
See you next time. Thank you, Joy Fam. Wishing you joy always.